Any advice that you have around building a positive board dynamic? Because you've been on so many boards.
There's a couple of elements. So the first one is you want to build a board that, number one, is diverse in knowledge, right? That fit, you have the finance, you have the sales capability, you have the technical and industry knowledge and all these things. And I think that's kind of 101. Mm-hmm. The more subtle one, and I think the more important one, is the culture that you set in the board, right? And the ones that I think have operated the best is when, number one, is there's really good interpersonal skills among the board members. They argue, but they're respectful and care about each other, and everyone's kind of going for the cause as the primary one. But understanding those dynamics that are not visible when you're building the board is really the key between winning and losing. And then the other thing too is, from a board member, is you have to know when you contribute and when you don't. And as you well know, is any time in our board meetings when there's finance going on, you don't hear a peep out of me. I mean, there's nothing I'm going to teach you, right? But I'm very active when there are pieces that, like with John McMahon in sales, we kind of go at it. So knowing your space, but very, very important to not only think about the capabilities of the people, but the personalities, and will they work together?
That's great.
And building that culture.
You mentioned diversity.
Yes.
I wanted to talk a little bit about that for a second. One of the areas that I feel like we need to do a better job really is it's the kind of the underrepresented minority.
Yeah.
Right? And you look at the success of the Asian community, Caucasian community, and I look back and say, gosh, we're like missing out an entire segment of our population that's not benefiting from what is clearly one of the biggest economic waves that's ever going to happen. Any thoughts on what we can do to try to help out on that front?
Wow, that's a really deep question, one that I'm extremely passionate about, and I can probably blow all the time on talking about this. So there's some philosophical things that I kind of believe in. Being a minority, there's one thing that got me really angry one time when I worked for the Bell System. I got promoted very rapidly multiple times, and someone said, oh, he's got promoted because he's Hispanic. And that pissed me off, more than you could ever imagine. And it's amazing when I sometimes talk to Hispanic organizations, and people would come to me and say, hey, how do I get promoted? It's never based on quota. It's always based on capability. And I always say to them is, you have to be the best of the best. You have no expectations other than you have to constantly work. So for any minority out there, is you attain success not because of you're a minority. You attain success because you're really good at it and you're working your tail off. Period. End of story. In our world, and depending what the outcome that we're doing, if we're trying to get more minorities in technology as an example, we need more minorities that are in STEM. We need more minorities that we're doing early intervention. We need more minorities that we're inspiring with people that say, hey, this is really cool. Right, let's get into it and do it. So it's a big problem, but you have to kind of boil it down to one or two things that you're going to do that you're going to affect the outcome. And the closer you can get to the root cause, the more successful you'll be.
Great, good. Listen, I want to thank Carlos for the time, sharing this advice and feedback with entrepreneurs that are hoping to replicate your success and your journey. So thank you.
Thank you for having me, and what I'll tell to all the entrepreneurs is don't take anything I said too seriously. It's just luck for me, and I wish you well. Work hard and be a good person. There's one thing you want to do is you want to be always a good person.